Thank you, Edgeworth. And now on with the video. Sonic R-echarged is a fan remake of Sonic R on Roblox that takes Sonic R and makes it an online multiplayer racing game. On top of being able to race as everyone from the original Sonic R on all the tracks from that game, the fan remake adds in a new track, a shop with some skins to buy with rings you get from the races and new characters. But of course, once you unlock everyone and get all the skins, there's only one thing left to do. Rank them. Which is what I am going to do. This is every Sonic R-echarged character ranked from worst to best. Before I start, I need to lay down some ground rules. First, I will not be ranking any skins the characters have, since they only change cosmetics. There is one exception, however, that I will get to later down the line. Second is that this list is based on doing the tracks the designed and intended way on a mouse and keyboard. So no glitches will be considered. And finally, third, this is assuming you're in a public server doing regular races. Private servers won't be brought up, since they are only there to help you practice the tracks or make it so you don't have like 90 seconds to get all the medals, chaos emeralds or chaos rings on a track. With all that said, let's get this ranking started.
No, so much nope!
I'm pretty much anticipating the comments that say, wait, what? Espio is in dead last? But he's the best character in the game. He should be in S tier. Well, let me explain why that's not the case around here. Yes, Espio has one of the best abilities in the game, but the thing is he's way too overpowered for a character that you get from finding all the chaos rings. I say that because every server I see him used is just someone abusing the hell out of his abilities to just wall run their way to victory and make it so there's no fair competition for everyone else in the server. And when the only way to actually go up against Espio is to play as him, it really shows just how badly designed he is. So let me state why Espio is in dead last. You do not need a character that can run on walls and trivialize most of the tracks just to win races. Heck, there's 3 other characters that can also take corners with ease without snapping the game in half. On top of that, you're not going to get better at the game by just using Espio. If anything, you're actually going to get worse at the game if you main him. Since not only will you likely not pick up some vital skills that can be used with everyone else, but other players might start to hate you for not giving them a fair competition. And even worse, it can possibly get you kicked because you triggered the anti-cheat by just using his abilities. Which is something you will really feel in matchups or servers that outright ban him. In those servers, you need to either learn how to master someone who can quickly dash in the direction the camera is facing, or you need to get better at properly drifting around tight turns. A skill you likely have not picked up if you just spent most of your time running on walls to make the problems go away. This goes double for learning the most optimal routes through the tracks as other characters, since you mostly didn't have to worry about that if you can just leave everyone else in the dust by just wall running your way to victory. And with all of that is combined with the post-traumatic stress disorder I have from seeing him just abused to win races in servers, there's a good reason I refuse to even give Espio the benefit of being in a good tier.
You will die!
Super Sonic is another character that is basically overpowered. In a sense that he's a direct upgrade from Sonic with way faster speed and the ability to float on water while running, meaning he has all the same overpowered issues that Espio has, which, while acceptable in the original Sonic R, it's safe to say that didn't translate very well into R-echarged. The only reason he avoided dead last is that he's only usable in private servers. So he won't be causing anyone in public servers to rage because of how fast he is. But this doesn't mean he even makes it to E tier, since him being exclusive to private servers pretty much means he's only good for winning any challenge races you haven't done yet. Yeah, in case it wasn't obvious, the overpowered racers are in F tier just because of how they completely break the game in half. Something that, while excusable in the original Sonic R, just can't be justified in R-echarged.
Watch out! You're gonna crash! Ah!
Okay, now on to characters that I can actually stomach looking at in this game. Ray has mostly decent stats with good in speed and acceleration with average handling, but what drags him down hard is his ability. The squirrel soar, while it has its uses in Sonic Mania, just doesn't translate very well into Sonic R at all. Not only is it near impossible to control, unless you use a controller, but it turns so slow that it makes the glide outclassed by Knuckles, is not outright useless. Simply put, Ray's ability just bogs him down with how bad it is. He's not of any practical use outside of showing off that you beat the 1v2 challenge race in Radiant Emerald. Only good for showing off that you beat the 1v2 challenge race in Radiant Emerald. That's Ray in a nutshell. And it's the reason he's the sole E tier of the list.
CT rocket activated.
Eggman is one of 4 characters I cannot show in a private server because of his ability. So for those who have a combat ability I will show them in a public server. Anyway, Eggman has great acceleration and handling but is one of the slowest characters in the game. Which combined with how you can't play as him until you have unlocked everyone else can make him quite underwhelming to play as. What pushes Eggman into D tier is his ability. It allows him to fire a homing missile for 10 rings which stuns anyone it gets, which can be quite handy for slowing down the other racers. However, it's hard to hit your mark and the missiles are really picky on when they want to lock on or not. So it's quite hard to hit your mark. Another thing that shoots Eggman in the foot is that his ability is triggered by the jump button, so you can't jump when playing as him. Granted, he can float on water regardless of speed, but given how slow he is, it doesn't make up for the fact that he is unable to jump. Honestly, with how bad his ability is and the fact that he's slower than most of the cast, it makes his unlock condition more of a facade that he's good when in reality he isn't.
Cruis'n USA. Yeah.
About time I got to talk about Amy honestly. She has the same stats as Eggman, except she's the slowest character in the game with her speed rated 4. Meaning everyone else is way faster than her. So how on earth does she rank above Eggman when she has no combat ability and also cannot jump? Well, there's 3 reasons for that. First is that she's unlocked right off the bat. Meaning there's no facade or needing to unlock the rest of the roster to get her. Second is that she actually moves faster on water, meaning she goes through water areas faster than Eggman can. And third, her ability is a turbo boost which, while it makes her hard to control, it can combat her otherwise slow speed. So in a way, the worst starter character is actually better than the character you unlock after getting everyone else. Though this isn't by much, because there's still like 12 other racers that outclassed her.
I am a robot. I am here to take American jobs.
I agonized a bit over if Metal Knuckles or regular Knuckles should be in C tier, because both of them have the same glide ability. However, I decided to put Metal Knuckles lower for one reason. And no, it's not because of the fact that he can only float on water when running at full speed. No, the real reason is because he has worse handling and is really slow on acceleration. Making the higher jump height he has over Knuckles a mute benefit, since his stats are more of a downgrade from Knuckles, which can bite him in the butt on certain tracks.
Falcon Punch!
Meanwhile, Knuckles has better acceleration and handling and can actually spin dash, which allows him to blast off at the start of races and recover from bad hits into walls despite his lower jump height and sinking like a rock in water. Which is why I put him at the bottom of C tier above Mecha Knuckles. I wouldn't blame you for putting Mecha Knuckles in C tier honestly, because they can be interchanged depending on your preference, but no matter who you prefer, they are still better racers for the job.
For his neutral special, he wields a gun.
Robo has faster speed than Eggman despite having worse acceleration and handling, and fires a laser gun that is faster and can stun racers at the cost of 8 rings, which offsets the fact he has to be running at full speed to float on water. And that's basically it. He's Eggman but actually somewhat competent despite not being able to float on water as good as Eggman. Yeah, doing this ranking made me realize that Sonic R doesn't really have that much variety in the roster compared to the later Sonic racing games. I mean, the only character they didn't make a clone out of is Amy, for God's sake.
Those robots are a total pain in the...
I'm just going to lump Metal Sonic and Sonic in the same entry, because both of them share the same stats and both can reach the same height, with the only difference between them in terms of jump height being that Sonic has to double jump, while Metal only needs to jump once. The only thing that is different is the ability they have. Metal Sonic can hover across water so long as he's moving at running speed like Robo and Mecha Knuckles. Meanwhile, Sonic has his trusty spin dash to quickly get back up to speed should he end up at a dead stop. Really, you could swap the position of these two and I won't be bothered. But if I had to choose who is better, then I would pick Sonic, since he has that spin dash.
Oh, no, not the bees! Not the bees! Ah!
Charmy is the one character that never walks in this game. His speed is good and he has great handling but has poor acceleration. On the ground. In the air his acceleration is way higher, meaning by jumping he can get up to speed faster. And in the ability front he can triple jump in the air, prolonging how long he stays in the skies, and if he needs to make an emergency landing he can just headbutt his way to the ground. And the way Charmy is able to float on water makes him king of the C tiers. And also what locks him out of B tier. Since, while he can stay afloat on water so long as he's moving, there's not many instances where you can take advantage of that. And even if you could, he's the lightest character in the game. Meaning he will most likely suffer the most if he runs into another racer. Which is something most of the cast don't usually have to worry about. Such as the next character. I feel like I am about to upset Cream Doll White Tea with this one. I'll be honest, it's quite difficult to talk about Tails Doll considering that he's the most infamous character in the game. Whether you love him, hate him, find him cute, or find him creepy, he's pretty much a horror character despite not showing any signs of horror in Sonic R at all. Anyway, him being the only B tier entry seems weird, but let me just state why that's the case. Tails Doll's stats are pretty average across the field. Good speed and acceleration with average handling. I find the fact he can jump to be quite surprising, because he just floats everywhere and doesn't even move his legs upon doing so. That, however, is a key thing about him. Float. His ability allows him to literally float on water no matter how long he stands on it, so he can just go full speed on it. He can also float in the air, but the timing is really strict on when you have to press the jump button for it to register, and even then I didn't find it all that useful. Hence, why I have no footage of it. His Gym Burst is quite the offensive move, as it can slow down the other racers when used at the cost of 6 rings. Assuming you even know how to properly land it. Yeah, the only reason he's not in A tier is because the Gym Burst is a 2D sprite, which makes it difficult to judge if you're close enough to affect the other racers or not, and will likely result in you missing, since it doesn't stay out that long before vanishing. The Gym Burst being awkward to use alone is the only reason Tails Doll didn't make it to the top 5. If the Gym Burst had a 3D model instead of a 2D sprite, he would have very easily been in A tier. Especially, since he would be happy to be there.
Find the computer!
Great. One of my favorite characters introduced in Sonic R was beat by a crocodile, who is my least favorite member in the Chaotix because of a certain collab from Sonic Paradox that I refuse to say the name of. My own personal hell. Anyway, Vector manages to beat Tails Doll because of the elbow dash, in case it wasn't obvious. The ability to quickly dash in the direction the camera is facing is never a bad ability to have, given how many tight turns there are in some of the tracks. He also moves faster in water, since he can swim for some reason. Though you're not going to get as much mileage out of that, since there's only 3 tracks in the entire game where that extra speed in water comes in handy. And since all his stats don't go above average, it's safe to say that there are 2 other options with similar abilities that outclass him.
Incoming!
Mighty also can dash in the direction that he's looking in, though he has to hit the floor before he dashes, so unlike Vector you won't get immediate results. And unlike Vector, hitting water will send you more into the air, so it's more useful slamming into the floor. However, Mighty has one wild card that makes him better than Vector. Mighty for some reason is immune to being bumped by other racers. meaning no matter who touches him, even if it's someone as heavy as Eggman, he will not be phased and keep going at full speed. And since he's faster than Vector, he can pretty much beat Vector more consistently, since he can just block him from being able to pass him and he can't do anything about it. Though he's not the best one with the dash move. That honor goes to someone that isn't even from a racing game.
I'm not even winded!
Yep. Honey outranks Vector and Mighty and manages to fight her way into S tier despite having a similar ability to the two previous entries. And that's because of the way she handles the ability. She can use it twice before needing to touch the ground. And when combined with the fact that she is quite floaty when she jumps, means that she can take shortcuts and handle tight turns that Vector and Mighty struggle with, since those two only get a single dash before needing to touch the ground. Which for a character from Sonic the Fighters is quite surprising, since fighting is more of Honey's thing than racing. While she wins the debate over who has the best aerial dash ability, she's not the best character, since there's still two racers that outdid her.
Hey bro, watch your jet. Watch your jet, bro. Watch your jet!
If you need an answer as to how Tails managed to beat Honey despite the fact that he doesn't have a dash move, just watch this. Yeah. Out of all the characters, Tails managed to be the best of the starters, if not most of the roster. His flight move is the big reason as to why. He can just fly through shortcuts with plenty of leeway, so beginners that understand the fastest routes won't struggle as much learning the best routes through each track. He also has great handling, so he can take tight turns quite smoothly. However, despite all of that, he didn't manage to take home the number 1 spot. As some of you eagle-eyed viewers may have noticed, the number count for Espio, who was in dead last, said 17. Not 16 like what the roster initially shows. That's because there's one more racer that, despite being a skin for Tails, is actually a racer that feels different from him.
Oh no, red card!
Okay, so hear me out here. Cream is considered a mirror fighter by the developer of the game with an ability Tails doesn't have and her own stats, and that's what makes her eligible for the listing like all the other skins, which only changed the racer cosmetically. From what I could tell, Cream is supposed to have weaker stats than Tails to make up for her having an additional ability. But to be completely honest, I could not tell the difference. The only stat that appeared weaker was her handling, which was rated as good when Tails had a great rating. But even then it was so minor I didn't even notice it. And yes, I said it. An additional ability. Cream can command Cheese to circle around her at the cost of 5 rings, which slows down other racers if they run into her pet Jow. It's pretty much on a similar vein as Tails' Doll's Gem Burst, but with less range though, since it's easier to tell where it will hit. There's less guesswork on trying to hit someone. This in turn fixes the biggest problem Tails' Doll's ability had. Cream can also fly like Tails, though she has less flight time in comparison. This makes her less beginner friendly, but if you mastered Tails and know the best routes to take with him, you know the best routes to take with Cream and probably mastered the flight to the point where you don't need that extra flight time. And since her stats are changed so little from Tails, it makes giving up the additional flight time in favor of Cheese circling around you to slow down other racers that try to bump you welcome in my book. Granted, you may consider Cream a skin for Tails and therefore not able to be ranked, and I wouldn't blame you for that. But since the developer confirmed that Cream is a mirror racer and that she is a direct upgrade from Tails, it makes her taking home the gold medal well worth it.
everyone.
And that's every single character ranked. It may seem a bit questionable that Cream is included, but she's considered a mirror racer and she has enough differences from Tails so she was able to be ranked. What you're seeing is a list on all of them. Technically Super Sonic wouldn't be able to be ranked, since he's a private server exclusive, but the video title wouldn't make sense if I left him out. Also, before anyone asks, no, I won't be doing any later updates that add in new characters. At least not yet. I got other projects to work on. So I think just ranking everyone that is part of the Wave 4 update is good enough. Anyway, I got to get back to other projects. Thanks for watching.